Is your life out of control? If so, here's the first thing you must do. Welcome. I'm your host, Stanley Bronstein. This is the way of permanent transformation. Today, we're talking about the first thing you must do if you want to take control of your life. Not the second thing, not the third thing, the first thing. And that first thing is simple, but it isn't always easy. You have to tell it like it is. Not how you wish it was, not how you hope it will become, not how you explain it away, not how you justify it, not how you dress it up to make it feel more comfortable. You have to tell it like it is. You can't take control of a life you're not willing to look at honestly. And you can't change a problem you're not willing to admit exists. That is why this is concept number one of the Way of Excellence, a personal development system I created to help me change my life that I now use to help others change theirs. Learning to tell it like it is. It's number one because everything else depends on it. Before you can change, you have to see. Before you can grow, you have to admit where you are. Before you can take responsibility, you have to know what you're taking responsibility for. Before you can create a better future, you have to stop pretending about the present. That's why telling it like it is comes first. I understand this personally. At one point in my life, I weighed 367 pounds. Despite that, I was successful in other areas of my life. I was an attorney. I was a CPA. I had education. I had experience. I had many professional accomplishments. But in the area of my health, I wasn't telling it like it was. What I was doing was slowly eating and drinking myself to death. And for a long time, I didn't want to fully face it. I could explain it, I could justify it, I could minimize it, I could say I was busy, I could say I was stressed, I could say I'll deal with it later. But none of that changed the truth. The truth was simple. I was a mess. As successful as I was in some areas, I was failing miserably in others. The bottom line was that until I became willing to start telling myself the truth and then start acting on that truth, I wouldn't be able to permanently change. That's the part people don't always want to hear. They want change, they want better results, they want more control, they want peace, they want health, they want success, they want better relationships, they want a better future, but they don't always want to begin with the truth. They want the benefit without the examination. They want the outcome without the honesty. They want control without awareness. But that's not how it works. The way of excellence begins with telling it like it is because truth is the starting point of permanent transformation. Each concept in the system has three parts, so let's take a look at the first part of concept number one. Number one, until we tell it like it is. Until we start telling it like it is and then begin adjusting our actions accordingly, we'll never achieve our maximum potential and evolve as a species. Until we start telling it like it is, we're going to stay stuck. And notice something very important. This isn't only about telling it like it is, it also says we must begin adjusting our actions accordingly. That matters. There are two parts to this. Awareness by itself isn't enough. Truth by itself isn't enough. Seeing the problem isn't enough. You also have to respond. You also have to adjust. You also have to take the truth you've discovered and do something with it. That's where many people get stuck. Some people never tell themselves the truth. Other people do tell themselves the truth, but then they don't change their behavior. They know what's wrong. They know what needs to be addressed. They know something isn't working. They know something needs to change, but they keep living the same way. That's not telling it like it is in the fullest sense. That's awareness without adjustment. And awareness without adjustment does not produce permanent transformation. If you want to take control of your life, you have to do both. You have to see clearly, and then you have to act accordingly. So let me ask you a few questions. How's your health? Not how do you wish your health was, not how do you hope your health will be someday. How is it right now? How are your finances? Not how do you explain them, not how do you avoid thinking about them. How are they right now? How are your relationships? Are they strong? Are they honest? Are they healthy? Are they neglected? How is your energy? Are you energized? Or are you exhausted and pretending you're fine? How's your purpose? Are you living with direction? Or are you drifting? And here's one of the biggest questions of all. Are you happy? Not entertained, not distracted, not busy, not comfortable, but happy. Those are not small questions. These are serious questions. And many people avoid them because they're afraid of the answers. But avoiding the answer doesn't make the truth disappear. It only delays the moment when you finally have to face it. And often, the longer you wait, the more painful the truth becomes. And if you wait too long, you'll wake up one day and it'll be too late. That's why denial is so dangerous. Denial feels safe in the short term, but it's expensive in the long term. Denial lets you avoid discomfort today, but it often creates a much bigger problem tomorrow. If your health is declining and you refuse to admit it, the problem is probably going to get worse. If your relationships are struggling and you refuse to admit it, they're probably going to get worse. If your finances are a mess and you refuse to admit it, the pressure you're experiencing is probably going to increase. If your work is draining your life and you refuse to admit it, your exhaustion is only going to deepen. If you're living out of alignment and you refuse to admit it, your inner conflict is only going to get louder. That's why telling it like it is and then acting on it matters. It's not about being harsh. It's not about beating yourself up. It's not about shame. It's not about judgment. It's about reality, because reality is where change begins. That brings us to the solution, the second part of concept number one. Law number one, the law of actuality. No living person or system can remain in existence for very long without first having arrived at a level of full, realistic awareness of their own existence, sensations, thoughts, and surroundings, and then responding accordingly after having done so. Notice that law has two parts. First, there's full, realistic awareness. Second, there's responding accordingly. Let's talk about the first part, full, realistic awareness. That means you must stop fooling yourself. You must stop pretending the problems don't exist. You must stop minimizing the problems. You must stop hiding. You must stop looking away. You stop blaming everyone else and everything else for your problems. And you look at your life clearly. That doesn't mean cruelly, clearly. There's a big difference. You can look at yourself honestly without being mean to yourself. You can admit you have a problem without becoming the problem. You can tell the truth without drowning in shame. That's what I did almost 18 years ago when I admitted that I either needed to change or I was going to wind up dead sooner rather than later. Telling yourself the truth is one of the most respectful things you can do for yourself. It says, my life matters enough to look at it honestly. My future matters enough to examine it. My potential matters enough to begin achieving it. My health matters enough to face it. My relationships matter enough to address them. My purpose matters enough to clarify it and to begin living it. That's not shame, that's respect. That's self respect. Now let's talk about the second part of law number one, responding accordingly. Once you see the truth, You have to act in alignment with what you've seen. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time and energy. If you realize your health is headed in the wrong direction, responding accordingly might mean changing how you eat. It might mean starting to walk 20 minutes a day. It might mean quitting alcohol. It might mean getting more sleep. It might mean finally taking your body seriously. If you realize your finances aren't where they need to be, responding accordingly might mean looking at the numbers. It might mean spending less. It might mean figuring out a way to earn more. It might mean asking for help. It might mean stopping the avoidance of the problem. If you realize a relationship is damaged, responding accordingly might mean having the conversation you've been avoiding. It might mean apologizing. It might mean setting a boundary. It might mean listening differently. It might mean telling the truth sooner and more kindly. If you realize your life is drifting, responding accordingly might mean sitting down and asking, where am I headed if I keep doing what I'm doing? What am I building? What do I actually want? What standards do I need to live by to get there? What am I tolerating that I need to stop tolerating? That's how control begins. Not by controlling everything around you, not by controlling other people, not by forcing life to obey you. Control begins by becoming honest enough to see what's actually happening and responsible enough to begin responding appropriately. That's a very different kind of control. It's not domination, it's alignment, it's responsibility, it's clarity, it's maturity, it's excellence. Now let's be clear. Telling it like it is can be uncomfortable. Sometimes it's painful. Sometimes you won't like what you see. I didn't like seeing 367 pounds on the scale. I didn't like admitting what I had done to myself. I didn't like realizing that professional success did not mean I was living an excellent life. But that truth was not my enemy. That truth was the doorway. The truth didn't destroy me, it woke me up. And once I woke up, I could begin changing. That's what I want for you. I don't want you to wait until the pain gets louder. I don't want you to wait until the problem gets bigger. I don't want you to spend years pretending something is fine when deep down you know it's not. I want you to begin now, not with panic, not with shame, not with perfection, but with truth. Start telling it like it is, then take one appropriate action based upon that truth. That's the beginning. Let's bring this down to something practical. Pick one area of your life, just one. Maybe your health, your finances, your relationships, your work, your energy, your habits, your purpose, your spiritual life, your home, your schedule, your future. Pick one area and ask, what's actually true here? Not what do I wish was true, not what am I pretending is true, not what do I tell other people is true, but what's actually true. Then ask, what action does that truth require? That second question is very important because truth that doesn't lead to action becomes another form of delay. So don't try to change everything today. Start small. Tell yourself one truth, take one action, make one adjustment, keep one promise. That's how you begin taking control of your life. And when you do that, you begin experiencing the benefits of concept number one. Benefit number one, living in the real world. By incorporating law number one, the law of actuality, into our lives, we will be creating a society where its members truthfully and accurately assess and acknowledge their situation and, as a result, begin acting appropriately. That's the benefit. Living in the real world, not the fantasy world, not the world of denial, not the world of excuses, not the world of someday, but the real world. And yes, the real world can be uncomfortable, but the real world is also where power exists. Because in the real world, you can act. In the real world, you can respond. In the real world, you can adjust. In the real world, you can grow. In the real world, you can transform. That's why telling it like it is matters so much. It returns you to reality. And once you're back in reality, you can begin taking control. So here's the question I want to leave you with. Where in your life are you possibly not telling it like it is? Be honest, not harsh, honest. Where are you pretending? Where are you avoiding? Where are you explaining instead of changing? Where are you waiting for things to improve while continuing to do the same things? Where are you refusing to look? Pick one area, tell yourself the truth, and take one action that truth requires. That's how permanent transformation begins. Not someday, today. That's the way of permanent transformation. If this message speaks to you, please like this video and subscribe to this channel. New videos are released on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and you can learn more or contact me at my website, thewayofexcellence.com.